It's Sunday morning. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. Still trying to get a voice back, guys. Christmas is over, but, the residuals are still here. We hope that you've had a great Christmas. We hope that 2024 is the best year yet for everybody. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and, of course, with me I have Shawn Slaght in Saskatoon today because the Rush are doing the New Year's Eve spectac over at their barn at SaskTel Center. How are you doing, Shawn?
Doing pretty good, Gary. It'll be a good one tonight.
It'll be a loud one, that's for sure, man. Those roofs are low. It is a loud building anyways. And, of course, I got Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Santa good to you?
Yes.
I see a Seals jersey on the back.
Very good. You'll see next week.
Okay, perfect. You heard it here, folks. By the way, next week we are back to our regular slot at 9 p.m. We didn't want to try and compete with Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, and of course Sean's game. So we're here in the morning. Eduardo is with us, our Western correspondent, coming to you live from Jacksonville. How are you, Eduardo? It's great to have you with us. And of course, we're going to have Pat with us in the Wings Nest talking about the stunning Philadelphia Wings win this weekend. Cost me in my pool.
Cost a lot.
This year that I mentioned about the pickums, and yeah, that's it. I took a royal beating so far, and only Saskatchewan can make me whole again. Anyways, before we get rolling, of course, just a reminder to everybody that all the shows are streamed across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch, and you can catch all the action on eopsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons, and always share. As you can see, there's plenty of shows. Of course, we can get Pat to talk about Steel Steps, also probably my favorite show. But enjoy all of our affiliates: Broad Street Bully Podcast, Philly Press Box Radio, Edge of Philly Sports Live, Birds IQ, Patterson Avenue Fanatics, Talking Philly Sports with Matty B, Devereaux Sports, Painted Lines, Party on Broad, as well as our show. And if you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. As well, you can catch any of the shows on the EOP YouTube page at EOP Sports. Or if you're looking for our show in particular, you can catch it at All Across All the Time on YouTube, as well as catching a whole whack of retro games. There's more on the way in the next couple of weeks. I went through all the tapes, and there's got to be another 60 or 70 of absolute gold, and they're all coming in the next while, as well as I might have another line on more Les Bartley's collection. So stay tuned on that one. That one is going to be big if I can get that. We were talking about that yesterday at the Rock game. So yeah, this could be a big thing for a lot of retro games on there. Stay tuned. And while you're at the YouTube page, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And please, we have a lot of things on there: press conferences, interviews, fights, anything you can think of is on there. And we want to use that as another tool to bring you as much information as we can. And as you guys subscribe more and more, is the more we can use it to get more information out to the masses. Anyways, let's move on, guys. There are a lot of things happening this week, as well as NLL. Dick Clark, not competing. He's only Tony. Yeah. Last time I checked, Ryan Seacrest was still keeping the name alive, and whatever. When a crystal ball goes from top to bottom, and everybody screams and yells and then tries to get out in traffic. Good luck to y'all. I'll be on my couch with my cup of water. Anyways, lots of news. The first one on the agenda is some really great news, man. The NLL has actually been proactive and have the very first female official, and she was at the San Diego game.
Diego, Carmen Massel, the first ever NLL official, or the first female NLL official, I should say, working the shot clock tonight. And you love to see these steps, not just in the game, but in sport in general.
You do. I mean, with every milestone crossed, it's just that much closer to a game that we all want to be playing. So credit to her. And a very cool side note for tonight's game.
Absolutely. It's a long time in coming.
Yeah.
Should have happened way before, but glad to see that it has happened. It's happened in all the other sports. So nice to see the NLL is actually going with the times and giving women their due, and there should be more.
Yeah. And interesting to note too, she's from Alberta. So
Look at that, eh?
Western product too, yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. There's 2 boxes checked off on that too that need to be. So excellent work, NLL, and very proud of them for this. All right, let's move on over to World Lacrosse, and they put out a little statement of all the new countries that are with them now. 12 new nations: Benin, Mozambique, Botswana, Sierra Leone, Brazil, Togo, Burkina Faso, Uzbekistan, Ivory Coast, Zambia, Malta, Zimbabwe. So 91 total members. 2023 was the biggest year of growth in World Lacrosse history, doubling membership from 45 to 91 in the last decade. That's incredible. So anybody who doesn't think that this game is growing by leaps and bounds, wildfire, is mistaken. This is not going to be your friend sport for very much longer. This is one of the main ones. And in a couple of years, when it's in the Olympics, watch.
Yeah.
Boom, there it goes. So, we're already off. I've said it many times. The elevator has left the ground floor. But now to see how high we're moving towards the penthouse is, the sky is the limit, as Jim Wasson likes to say. I love it. I love it. And a lot of countries that, it looks like a World Cup soccer thing there now, doesn't it?
It's starting
Yeah,
to.
it does.
Starting to. So.
For country growth, you almost think it's past hockey, I would assume, just because of being able to do it outdoors with not thousands of dollars of equipment. So
You're definitely getting there, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. If it hasn't passed it, it's very close now, I think. All right, let's move on to the OJLL, and they announced their upcoming draft over at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center on January 14th. That is 2 weeks from now at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you are in the neighborhood, you can drop by and watch all the action live, or I believe go onto the OJLL site and you might be able to catch it streamed. So should be interesting. Always a lot of happy players as they take their next step towards getting into the NLL or PLL for that matter. All right. The PLL, speaking of them, put out a little video earlier this week, and it was about what's going on, of course, with the growth and with the renaming. So Paul Rabel had a few things there and a little clip from a couple of stations as well.
Let's revisit our past. We're a touring model. We're going to continue to tour with our 8 teams, except each of our home teams are going to have their own home stand where they'll play a doubleheader at a minimum of 1 time throughout the regular season. That is the new twist. The touring model works for lacrosse right now because we're able to introduce the game and all of its best teams and players all at once in tandem with our network partner. That was our initial goal. We're maintaining that.
So now that we have the teams, logos, locations all figured out, tell us about the conference breakdown.
Yes, we have an Eastern and Western Conference. Boston, New York, Philly, Maryland in the East. Denver, Utah, California, and Carolina in the West. So there's going to be all-star implications, conference semifinals, conference finals.
What is next for these teams?
Well, we're super excited about where all of our 8 teams have ended up. The emerging and the very robust fan bases of lacrosse are going to see their schedule announcement on January 1st, the new year, 2024.
That's big. That's tomorrow, guys. So we're going to look for that schedule coming out tomorrow. It'll be on the PLL app. I imagine it'll go onto their main website eventually, but they're trying to push their app, so it'll be on their app first. But the other thing that they are pushing, of course, starting on Valentine's Day is the tournament, the PLL Champion Series. And it starts Wednesday, February 14th at 5:30 p.m. in Springfield, Virginia, over at the St. James. The California Redwoods open up against the Boston Cannons. Later that same night, the Philadelphia Water Dogs play the Utah Archers. The next set of games will be on the Friday, California versus Philadelphia, then Boston versus Utah. And on the Saturday, the last day of round robin, Utah versus California and Philadelphia versus Boston. The semifinals will be taking place on Sunday, February the 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then the finals will be, and 3 p.m. Eastern, of course. And the finals will be on the Monday, February 19th at 11:30 a.m. Interesting time. But anyways, all times are Eastern. So that's the scoop there. So interesting stuff. PLL is making sure that we're talking about them in the wintertime. So, nothing mentioned about Canada. No, they're not coming here.
Nope.
They're not coming here. They're too busy building it up on the U.S. first. That may be an afterthought later. But they had mentioned that before, that, they did the one trip into Hamilton. I loved it, but they have places to go in the U.S. Where CBS actually has advertising. Because don't forget, it doesn't matter if there's a bazillion people here in Canada, it still registers as nothing on the advertising market over in the U.S. I asked the same question, 11:30 a.m. on a Monday, which is not a holiday. It actually is a holiday here in Ontario, so we can catch it. It is Family Day.
It's sort of a holiday here, President's Day. So,
well, hug a president. I guess in the U.S. you got to find one first, don't you?
Yeah.
That's my little political take for the year. Sorry. I really don't know anything about politics, but look at the people who do. And I'm sticking with that. Before we move on any further, and I get myself in any bigger holes, this part of the show is brought to you by Dolan's.
All right, guys, when you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, make sure to go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Avenue at Ridley Park. Right off of I-95, south of Philadelphia Airport, Dolan's Bar is the place to be. Great music, great times, memorabilia giveaways, great drinks, and even better food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through the door. You got to go to Dolan's, 24 East Sellers Ave at Ridley Park. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even TikTok. We'll see you there for the game.
Absolutely. Which now brings us to our debacle of the year, of the week, the year. And of course, when we talk debacle, we talk OLA. Absolutely. Now they brought out their policy for
non-sanctioned events. Yeah.
Yes. We heard the stuff when Shawn was covering the non-world championships over in Saskatoon and all the fallout from that. And of course, with the Tuorton league when it was going to be taking off, and nothing happened with that, and CLL and a few other things. And, the OLA was flexing their muscles. And of course, what did they do to get this thing passed to make it look really shady? They put it on December 22nd, Christmas weekend, on a Friday afternoon where nobody really could see it or know anything about it. And there it was. Of course, there was an awful lot of backlash from every single one of the junior teams around because it affected everybody, including camps and practices and other teams and US and PLL and everything else that was non-governed by OLA. And probably the most succinct one was this one by Hardcore Lacrosse, in which the profound sense of disappointment and dismay intensifies as the Ontario Lacrosse Association persists in pushing forward this restrictive policy. As a director and coach at Hardcore Lacrosse, witnessing the disregard for the vital role of our programs play in fostering a thriving lacrosse community is disheartening. The OLA's decision not only demonstrates a lack of understanding of the nuanced dynamics of player development, but also reflects a failure to acknowledge the dedicated efforts of clubs like ours. It's disheartening to see a governing body impose such constraints without engaging in a meaningful dialogue with club directors, members, and athletes. This unilateral approach not only undermines the collaborative spirit needed to enhance the sport, but also tarnishes the trust and partnership that should exist between the lacrosse community and its governing body. Brian Campbell, Director of Youth Development, Hardcore Lacrosse. Now, every one of the junior teams that we took a look at put out a thing that the portal would not be open until they got more information from OLA. Now, the big thing here isn't what's in the policy. Let's get something on the board here, because OLA, they're governing, they can do pretty much what they want to. But to put it across non-AGM, put it in the AGM, have everybody have their say, and then come to terms and revisions and things. Now they tried to come back with a revisionary thing, and we'll just put that up there for you. With significant interest and feedback from clubs about our non-sanctioned lacrosse policy, we're sharing updates which we expect will address the most common and reasonable concerns that have been raised. These amendments present a strong middle ground that protects OLA members' clubs while also respecting players' wishes to choose how they participate. To summarize these policy changes,
if I could just, before you go any further, I just want to clarify. So the policy here that they sent out basically states that people involved, players who are part of the OLA or OLA sanctioned leagues and teams cannot participate in non-sanctioned events, or they will face
2 years suspension. 2 year suspension. That's been revised on this thing too, but originally it was the remainder of the year that they're in plus the following. So basically 2 years suspension just to get extra playing somewhere. So
like an example of that would be, just pick any town, Burlington, Kitchener, or something like that. Say a junior player, on Burlington, decides he's, gonna play, say in that the event that Shawn covered, that technically isn't sanctioned by OLA.
2 years.
That puts them at risk. Okay.
Yep, exactly. So they've changed a few things. First, introduced a strategy in a manner that allows time for our teams and leagues to make adjustments. The policy be enforced during the sector season only when it's determined that a participant has been absent from their OLA team commitments to participate in non-sanctioned lacrosse. The purpose there, several non-sanctioned representatives have reached out to reaffirm their commitment and respect for OLA programming and to request exemptions for athletes who are not otherwise involved in an OLA club event. By acknowledging this point, it addresses the main intention of the policy to protect OLA teams from depleted rosters when they're scheduled to participate in OLA events and leagues. Now, again, this should have been in the first one.
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts on that too, but I don't know if you want to get into that right now.
Go into it. Because I'm reading that a specific way too, and I'm reading that to mean, okay, we're not gonna suspend you, so long as you can participate in everything OLA related. You could also take part in, say, what is the IIJF or something? The
IIJL,
yeah. That you could take, you as, let's say, this Burlington player can participate in that IIJL event, as long as it doesn't conflict with, whatever you have going on with your Burlington team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
My thoughts here is a couple. First, just things I've been hearing around the social media verse is, what about hockey? A lot of kids miss OLA events to go to hockey camps, stuff like that. Are they going to get suspended for depleting a roster?
That's a good point.
Probably not, right?
Right middle of their window, yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah. I mean, how many Canadian athletes, we know of that, are usually playing lacrosse and hockey at the same time, all the way up,
That's what I've been hearing. Is a lot of parents are saying, a lot of parents who are coaching are saying, I'm losing a lot of kids to hockey, not lacrosse. But we're punishing lacrosse players for playing other lacrosse events, but hockey's fine. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, Jake Henhock says, it amazes me that everybody in lacrosse is scared of the thought of a rogue league association starting up, but when it happens in hockey, everyone is pretty accepting. These policies didn't exist until the Wharton Lacrosse League. The CLL was recognized and players encouraged to go play before that. And of course, the CLL made a big statement on that one as well.
Yeah, I know Chris with CLL, and I know he
Yeah.
a lot of what happened with the IIJL this past.
Well,
had to
according
do
to
with
Chris
OLA.
here, yeah. Great point. We still have dialogue with countless junior GMs and coaches across the country that advocate their players playing with us at the IIJL World Lacrosse Championships, be it if their team does not make the playoffs or if they are eliminated for the championships before the championship starts. But in 2020, Grimes and McSpadden made it their agenda to squash the CLL and anyone else that stands in their way. A direct quote from Ron McSpadden on a call they had with him when asked, but why, he didn't give an answer. We are happy to share that conversation as well. We have actively promoted the OJALL as well as the players who play with us obviously play full-time in other leagues. Additionally, we love promoting the OJBLL and OJCLL, telling player stories how they have played and excelled in all three leagues. Ethan Riggs comes to mind. Now playing with the Georgia Swarm. We have surrendered to the fact that we will never logically know why these individuals have taken this stance. We only know that they have, and we need to move forward. Our goal is to provide international box lacrosse opportunities for plays across Canada in every province, opportunities that Lacrosse Canada and Ontario Lacrosse do not provide. But we are sure by their actions that the OLA wants to and thinks there is money to be had. Additional quotes from our conversations with OLA board members, oddly enough, seem to throw each other under the bus quite often, regardless, because the OLA is actively preventing their members from participating with us. Players, coaches, officials, volunteers, contracted employers. As Colleen Grimes threatened to suspend a videographer who also plays lacrosse if she did work for us. We need to find another way to include Ontario lacrosse players, coaches, officials, and the like. Essentially, that might mean doing exactly what Colleen and Ron have set out to prevent: competition. While they both seemingly do good work in their respective capacity, social media, graphics, and the OLA Festival, it's obvious that they do not want competition. We are not, nor have we ever been competition to the OLA or its junior leagues. We are a complementing organization that never interested with their ability to do business or play lacrosse, et cetera, et cetera. So it goes on and on and on from the CLL. But it pretty much that sums up everything that we're talking about.
And sorry, just the last other point I want to make real quick here. We're kind of running along, but what if a kid has an opportunity to work out in front of an NCAA and potentially have a scholarship opportunity? Do LA is just going to take that away over this policy?
Well, the way I see it is they better get the scholarship because otherwise they have nowhere to play.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, we talk about here, and there's a point here on camps. Camps and clinics serve as development opportunities for players. The reason for including them in the first draft of this policy was because many of these events operate without insurance for participants or any other safety mandates that are in place for sanctioned games and events, thus increasing risk to athletes. However, many OLA clubs have reached out to commit to ensuring applicable safety measures for camps and clinics and that they are hosting. And so these events will be removed from the policy. Interesting. One of the other ones, it goes on and on. You can take a look at this at the OLA site. If you are interested in taking a look at all the amendments and the entire thing, go into OLA.com.
Yeah, maybe the one thing to quickly clarify, Gary, because you did bring it up. Sorry, one thing to clarify, Gary, just because you brought it up, is that they did reduce the suspension from 1 year.
Yeah, it's 1 year now.
Yeah.
The year that they are working in.
Still, that safety point. Ugh. I mean, that sounds like a trust issue to me.
To me, it feels like
that that OLA doesn't have faith in say IIJL or another league in Ontario or another province that isn't OLA affiliated. What, that you don't trust that they're gonna have player safety in mind at their events?
Absolutely.
Again, I just feel like this revised policy, if you want to call it that, just didn't solve anything.
No, and it's just started with when they started trying to form the TLL away from the OJLL. When they tried to move Six Nations and of course Jake Henhock and that's when everything that's when he kicked their heels in. And I've dealt with the OLA, and You know,
And I
they
feel
are
just
set
again,
in their
like
ways.
with my dealings with the CLL and IIJL, it just feels like they've just moved on from the TLL to the CLL now. I'm trying to.
Yeah. Now, Lacrosse Canada just jumped in with a statement also. It's, we don't usually hear from Lacrosse Canada. And this is how big this has become. As the governing body of lacrosse in Canada, Lacrosse Canada is committed to fostering growth and development of lacrosse in our country. In response to the recent announcements from the Ontario Lacrosse Association on December 22nd, along with their revision shared on December 29th regarding their non-sanctioned lacrosse policy, Lacrosse Canada Board of Directors has great concerns on the impact this has on our membership and opportunities afforded to them. Lacrosse Canada's mission is to promote, develop, and preserve the sport of lacrosse and its heritage as Canada's national sport. Lacrosse Canada was not made aware of the OLA's non-sanctioned lacrosse policy prior to its release and does not feel the policy or its revision is consistent in executing our mission. We are in contact with OLA executives to better align our vision to serve the best interests of athletes, coaches, officials, and members in general. It has hit the fan now, folks. Now it has hit the fan.
Yeah, I just feel like
For
CL
Lacrosse Canada to do anything is usually, they're stoic.
I just almost feel like Lacrosse Canada has to do something, take it to another level, because just talking to them, slapping on the wrists, just seems like it's just not enough at this point.
I was surprised that they would do it. And Eduardo's in the same opinion. Someone's going to get their hand slapped. Yeah. A whole lot of nothing, but they have to weigh in on it. Now, Arena Lacrosse, they have a partnership with OLA. And it's interesting because the Arena Lacrosse season doesn't fall into that group because they start in December and they finish in March. So it doesn't fall into the OLA window anyways. But they have a policy now with them as a partner. So they are not affected by it as well, which is good because how many players are playing in the ALL that are ready to jump to the NLL? And we don't need that headache among there. And as well as playing MSL or WLA. And, a lot of them are in the MSL. So,
well, that's the other concern, right? Is where you could give an exemption to pros because they're playing, say, PLL during that window and then want to jump to MSL. Or I guess you really can't do that with PLL, but there's still the NLL playoffs going on.
Yeah.
Are you going to exempt pros?
There's still too many loopholes in this thing. And, again, this thing should have been done during an AGM. I don't have a problem with the policy per se. In some forms.
Well, that's the biggest thing. They didn't consult their members, right?
I agree with, of course. But for the OLA to do this without taking any consent from anywhere, any impact, any feedback from anywhere is wrong. And the petition that is out, and I believe you can get it on our page. You definitely can get it through a number of the NLL players. You can get it on my Twitter page. It is 1/3 of their membership has signed the petition, if not more by now. That's huge.
Yeah.
So that's over 6,000 signatures on this thing. So and growing. So they've obviously rattled a beehive because you took a thing where teams have been doing their own thing, and now they are thoroughly unified from what I'm seeing all over the place with their statements. So you're going to have a whole lot of nothing going on until there's clarity in this. And this revision isn't the clarity I think that they're looking for by any stretch of the imagination. No. All right, stay tuned because there's a whole lot more to come with that because, it has not been anywhere near sorted out yet. And I'm curious to see if Lacrosse Canada does anything. They say they will, but
that's just my biggest thing, right? Is I think Lacrosse Canada has to put their money where their mouth is now and
do
something. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
And not just a statement.
Before we move on to the ALL, I just want to remind everybody this part of the show is brought to you by Sherry's Ticket Town.
All right, guys, it's time to talk about Sherry's Tickets. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. Do not pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. That's 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, do not overpay and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. Save 10% using the promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. You'll thank us later. Sherry'sTickets.com.
Absolutely. Lots of things on the go and lots of things to look at as well. Lots of games coming up. So get a chance to do that with Sherry's Tickets. Great deals to be had. All right. The ALL had 2 games this past weekend, yesterday, and they're part of their reduced schedule for the holidays. We had the Oswego Bears hosting Brampton, and we had the Six Nations Snipers hosting Paris. The Oswego Bears, mentioned before, have been on a resurgence, and they just took Brampton to school. It was a 17-5 shellacking over there in the ILA. And over with the Snipers, the Paris River Wolves outlasted them 14-13, which puts us at our power rankings, which didn't move. Whitby is still number 1 at 3-0. Paris is number 2 at 3-0. Oswego is still 3 at 2-1. The Toronto Monarchs 1-2 as at number 4. Brampton stays at number 5 at 1-2. Oshawa is on their heels at number 6 at 1-2. The Peterborough Timbermen number 7, 1-2, and the Six Nations Snipers are 0-3 and sitting at number 8. But all their games have been close, so for them to move up shouldn't be too far down the way it seems. Alrighty. NLL, we got a few things before we get into the games. We had a milestone with Joe Russell-Terrets, and of course, he had 675 points this past weekend, just bypassing that. Most points by an American player, bypassing the old record by Casey Powell. Congratulations, Joe. It's funny, I saw one of the pages put Joe Russell-Terrets through the years, and he's gone from babyface, one who would be asked for ID everywhere he went, to the old griddled veteran that he is today. I believe he originally grew a beard just because I don't think anybody believed he was 19 or 21 in the U.S. for sure. And then now he'd be looking to shave it off. But anyways, congratulations, Joe. He had a big game. We will have Pat in here in a minute to discuss it. We had a couple of trades. One I got to see live yesterday was Stephen Keogh for Kevin Orleman. So Orleman is now on Rochester, which is explaining a bunch of stuff with Hartley, isn't it? Though there's nothing definitive. All signs look at another concussion. So we're going to see if he changes to the IR for the year or he keeps on the IR now. But again, nothing has been made public by the team. And the trade for Orleman, I had mentioned Craig Wendy last week if that would be viable, but they went with Orleman. So he'll be on the bench, I'm sure, backing up Riley Hutchcraft. We hope the best for Ryland Hartley for sure, and hope I'm wrong about that. But everything I saw from that looked exactly like another concussion. So I'm hoping, not being an MD, that I am 100% wrong. But, thoughts and prayers, man. Another trade was Carson Moyer goes to Colorado, and Anthony Jochum goes over to Albany. Plus a couple of draft picks in the 2025 draft being switched. So
yeah, this one I think is big for Albany. I mean, he's coming back, to an organization he was with. Well, not while in Albany, but he did play a year in New England before getting taken by Philly. Yeah. And so he's going to have some familiarity with some of those guys. Colton Watkinson, Nick Tchaikovsky, Jackson Nishimura, and the like. So that's going to be a big add for Albany on defense.
Right. All right. So Through the good times and through the bad times, I bring us back up. Yep. That was my week. Crash and burn is me. So far, out of 6 games, Mike is 4-2 with Albany picked for this evening. Shawn is, Shawn, you got 3-3.
Yeah, I was gonna say not great, but
yeah,
No, he's.
he
is 3-3. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm 2-4.
Oof.
2 1-loss games. Overtime at that. 2-4, and I have Saskatchewan tonight, so I'm looking to go 2-5. But hopefully I'm in the pack with 3 wins.
In some ways, I hope you're wrong. Right?
Eduardo is 4-2, and he has Albany for tonight. And Pat is 4-2, and he has Albany for tonight. So Lone Dove here with Saskatchewan. If this was a Vegas scenario in a football game, I win. He likes to keep their money. But anyways, without further ado, I want to bring in Pat Bernard with Wings Nest because we got some stuff to talk about, Pat. I can't hear you, Pat, but we got stuff to talk about.
Mute yourself.
I could hear you before, but I can't hear you now. How are you doing, Pat? Yeah, Pat.
Oh.
Pat's silent today. He's not talking to me.
Yeah.
He'll be back. He'll be back. Are you back? No, it's still not happening, Pat.
No.
No, can't hear. All right. Why don't we start off? I believe some of the critics in Philly have taken over. See what happens when you talk badly about Higgins long enough.
Someone gets Higgins control.
You have to silence Pat. I'm sure Pat will be back very, very soon. But in the meantime, why don't we start off with the Georgia Buffalo game? I was at this thing, and Jackson and Lyle each net hat tricks as the Swarm surprised the champs. Well, I don't know if they surprised them or what, but it was a hell of a game. It was old-style lacrosse. Great defense, great goaltending. And anybody who wondered about Brett Dobson, you need not worry. He is the real deal. He single-handedly shut down Buffalo and the likes of Josh Byrne, Chris Bluche, to a point, Dane Smith, even though Dane had 7 assists, Dane was not able to score any goals. The game, back and forth. Georgia never allowed Buffalo to get on that big run that they're used to that usually separates them. Started out with Shane Jackson scoring after a track meet, literally up and back for almost half a quarter. And Shane Jackson converted an Andrew Q pass to make it 1-0. Chase Fraser with an absolute howitzer on the power play about a minute and a half later tied the game up. And that was it after 1. It was 1-1. Into the second, Kyle Buchanan with a beauty goal behind the back. Just an absolute gorgeous catch it, and whoop, there it was. And I guess that's the only way you can beat Dobson is by taking him off guard. But, as hard as Buffalo worked at the 5-minute mark, literally Georgia just came right back. Boom, Alex Q with converting a Seth Oaks pass, and it was tied 2-2. And that was about 30 seconds later. Fast forward another 30 seconds, and Lyle Thompson with the first of his couple. And Georgia's in the lead, 3-2. Chase Fraser again with another rope on the power play off a Dane Smith pass. It's tied 3-3. And then Shane Jackson took over with another beauty from the side of the net with a couple of minutes left to go in the half. And the half ended with Georgia up 4-3. A pitcher duel, guys. Very clean game. Nothing much in the way of penalties. Buffalo was converting every time they had it, so Georgia was smart not to go to the box. Because remember, I was in Buffalo, so we learned to spell box a few times. We counted numbers. It was great. It's like going back to school. And then you look at the attendance, there was a lot of numbers there. 16,577, I think. Massive crowd. for a holiday weekend. Yeah. On a weekend where the Sabres and the Bills are playing. Yeah. Pretty impressive, guys. Pretty impressive. Third quarter happens, and Buffalo takes the lead on the power play. Chris Kluche takes it, and that was the third in a row on the power play that they scored to tie the game up 4-4. Shane Jackson comes back with a power play goal a couple of minutes later, and 5-4 Georgia. Josh Byrne ties it up just before the end of the third with another beauty, just an absolute laser from his position out front of the net. And we were 5-5 heading into the fourth. And again, nail-biting time. Buffalo puts together their mini run with the Byrne goal at the end of the third. Kluche and Byrne score the first couple of minutes of the fourth, and you're thinking, okay, here comes Buffalo. And sure enough, it's 7-5 Buffalo, and you're thinking, okay, here comes the hammer. Not to happen. Lyle Thompson puts the team on his back, and first with an unassisted goal, just an absolute bullet that Matt Vince stops, but the momentum, the ball just scribs over the line. And 2 minutes later, 56 seconds later, Lyle Thompson again of a Zach Miller pass, and we're tied at 7-7. 2 minutes later, Shane Jackson puts Georgia up again to stay 8-7. Alex Q scores an empty net goal a couple of minutes later. And it's interesting because that one comes back to bite him, because Toka Nanako scored with 21.9 seconds left, and it was 9-8. Interestingly enough, after that goal, Ian McKay was taking faceoffs. He went 11 for 21 in relief of Max Adler if he ever makes it back, and he did a phenomenal job on faceoffs. But he won the faceoff. Buffalo was able to set up a play, and again, Dobson. That's the game saver right there. Looking at some of the stats in the game, Buffalo outshot Georgia 54-42. That's 46 saves if you're counting at home for Dobson. He was fantastic. Again, Ian McKay went 11 for 21 on faceoffs. Buffalo went 3 for 4 on the power play, where Georgia only went 1 for 4 on the power play. And those were the telltale signs there. But again, a hard-fought battle between these two teams. Anybody who is doubting Georgia, I wouldn't. No. Toronto's got them in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that one because right now it's looking at probably 1 and 2 in the league. And it'll be a litmus test for the Rock defense because these guys are just bulls. And if you key on Lyle Thompson, then you got Jackson and it goes on and on and on. And they're able to maneuver the ball all over the place. So, their passing is fantastic. And their transition is quick. Very, very quick.
Yep.
So we've got a little bit of a clip of the game's highlights. Let me just throw that on.
Georgia, 62%. Colorado went 1 for 4. There's a shot to go by Buffalo. Better vision now for Q. 33 goals. Q scores for the Georgia Swarm. The left wing side is Kyle Buchanan. Dane Smith joins inside the Georgia zone. He's along the near boards. Leaves it out in front, over the shoulder, score, Buffalo. To do some picking and pushing, while Georgia leaves it up to Lyle Thompson with that shot, he scores! Moves it back to the far side, it's picked up by Seth Oakes, who leaves it out in front, pick stick shot, score, Georgia! There's a shot on by Kluche. Tic-tac-toe shot, saved Dobson. They're trying again. Kluche scores! For Buffalo. Top of the slot. There's a shot, score! Georgia! Corner, back to Dane Smith, right at the restraining line at left. To Byrne, right. Byrne combining with a shot on, scores!
Right back to work on offense.
Fraser to Smith. Smith to Byrne with a shot. He scores! To thrust in, leaving it back out in front. Q is hammered by Priomo. Goal by Georgia as the initial save was made and the ball again just trickled over the goal line. Territory score is tied at 7. 7:08 remaining here in the fourth. Georgia from the far side. Pass out in front. Shot scored! Georgia!
And that was how she ended. 9-8 for the Georgia Swarm, beating the Buffalo Bandits, silencing almost 17,000 fans. Mind you, a lot of them are from Ontario, and a lot of them are Georgia Swarm relatives. So there are a fair amount of them in the crowd. So it's interesting mix there. But I enjoyed my time again in Buffalo, as always, And it was great. John Tavares at the press conference had this to say.
Kind of an odd back and forth game where there was no really great runs. It was almost just like pretty close to who could score. Come up with a little bit of burst at the end. How'd you take the game?
Oh, that was a great lacrosse game. Both teams played well. I was hoping we were going to have a run there in the fourth quarter. We went up by 2, but they all answered with 3 in a row with their own goals. So that negated that opportunity. But we stuck to the game plan and we had the opportunity to tie the game at the end, and unfortunately, just came up a little short.
Would you attribute the Georgia run to a breakdown anywhere specifically the defense, or is it more just lacrosse is a game of runs type of thing?
I mean, it's easy to say that this guy made this mistake or that guy made that mistake. They got a great offense just like we do, and guys are going to put the ball on it. And Jackson was picking corners, bottom right corner quite a bit today. And then you got Lyle Thompson working his tail off all game long and finds ways to get the ball to the net, and it's very creative the way he does it. So when you got those 2 guys on your offense, you're going to score. You're going to score some goals, and both of them had a great game tonight.
What'd you like from Emerson Clark in his first game for the Bandits?
I liked his hustle. He made some smart plays, got some loose balls for us, and I thought he fit in well.
Coach, second game where Dane didn't find the back of the net. I know he talked about 2 weeks ago. When I can't, other guys will, like jobs. But is that something? Do you have to, talk to him a little bit more? Because I imagine he's frustrated, or is it kind of like he'll figure it out type of a thing?
Yeah. Offensive guys are all a little bit different. Like some of them like some advice on how to shoot, where to shoot. Some guys don't want to hear anything and just work their way through it until they start getting hot again. I leave it. I don't think it's just going to fix itself. I think, Dane has, been around for a long time. He's a great goal scorer, and, he just needs to go back to basics and, figure it out. And when I say figure out, just figure out what works for you. Don't forget, how you were successful scoring goals. And, my job is to keep him confident. And I always said, as long as you're getting chances to score, that's the key. So I don't think he's getting enough open looks. He's got a couple crossbars in the last couple games, but I would like to see him.
Yeah, it's a point there. And Dane actually spoke at the press conference also, knowing that it's eventually going to drop for him. It's just he's just going to keep doing his thing. But when you're not scoring, you still get 7 assists. I think you're still doing your part.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, part of that could be him maybe deciding that, he needs to be more of an assist guy or have more of an assist role on the team. As
he's always led in assists, right? So
yeah. Well, I think we need to take into account, who owns the record for most goals in a single season?
Yeah,
Dane Smith. Yeah. But who also owns the record for most assists in a season? Dane Smith. So, granted, the goals was, 7 years ago, and the assists was last year, but,
we can take a look who he has to throw the ball off to, right? You have Josh Byrne as your choice 1. You have Chris Kluche as your choice 2. You have Chase Fraser as your choice 3. You have Tehoka Nanticoke as choice 4. You don't need to throw it at the net. You've got plenty of guys to do it. And Nanticoke, he was a bull in a china shop again. Byrne, he had a lot of going inside, but Dobson had the answer. He ran into a hot goalie. Simple. And again, Dobson is looking like this game in, game out. This isn't just a freak one here and there. So he's the real deal. So.
And again, my periodic reminder to folks that the Georgia Swarm have 2 league MVPs on their offensive unit. And a potential third in Andrew Q. So a lot of people forget that Shane Jackson is a league MVP.
Now remember, they also
it's games like this that you got to remind people it's not just Lyle. It's
everybody shook their head when they traded Ryan Lansbury, but where would he fit in? He was just excess baggage, and so instead of making him play left press box, you give him a chance to have a career. That's why you get rid of him, not because he's not doing his thing. It's still top-rated player in the NLL. So when you have that,
doing his thing now in Rochester.
Yeah, look what he's doing in Rochester. Yeah,
absolutely. Pat, are you speaking to us?
Yes, I got you.
Holy jumping, Pat is speaking to us.
Sorry.
We're back to the Wings nest.
Yes. Hey,
welcome, sir. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, gentlemen. And listen, I was listening to you guys talk about going around the leagues, and this game in particular. Man, just when it looked like everything was down and out, the physicality defense from the Halifax Thunderbirds, their offense, they're nasty. So what did the Wings really have to go for them? And they had the unsung heroes, right? What did we talk about last week? What do we need to see? We need to see the Ben McIntosh step up. We need to see the Sam LeClaire step up. We need to see playmakers come available and start stepping their A game up. And we got a couple goals from the Ben McIntoshes, the Sam LeClaire's, the Tate Catonis. You need that in this game. Again, you're a wounded animal. You're back against the wall. So the best thing you have to do is fight for your life. And this team did that. Is like I mentioned earlier, Halifax had them outplayed on both sides of the ball. But for some odd reason, this team, this Philadelphia Wings team hung around and they found the ways to win. I don't know how. This is a Rocky 2 where the opponent just come out and pummeled this team, but this team hung around. And I got to give Mitch Jones his credit. He put up 4 goals in this game, and he was still his first goal was from outside. He did some big things in this game. And like I said, the complementary pieces around him finally stepped up. The Tanner Bucks of the world stepped up, kind of set the tone for the Wings. He gets the first goal in the first half, first goal in the second half. So you had all those intangibles going on. So to me, you really, really got to see a all-round tough, tight Wings win. And like you guys mentioned earlier, Joe Ortiz shattering records. Again, 10 years into the league now. Says, breaks his milestone. Again, I think he has one more accomplishment is bring Philadelphia a championship. But like I said, this Philadelphia Wings team, though, facing adversity with all the injuries coming in this game, and they found a way to win. That's the most important thing now. So now you're 2-2. You have a New York Reptile team that you can. It looks like, again, they're 0-3, so on paper, you should be able to handle them at home. But then again, a Philly and New York matchup is never a day at the beach. So,
the Higgins thing. How about that, Pat? He had 67 shots.
You go with Higgins.
Now, granted, he didn't have a great first half.
An assist.
He didn't have a great first half, but the second half, he was lights out and had 5 goals. That's all he gave up.
Yeah, he did.
He gave him a chance to win.
He did. He hung in there. Again, he was out trying to adjust to what Halifax was throwing at him. And once he figured out, once he got into his zone, that was it. And like I said, better second half. And he played extremely well between the pipes. I got to give him his due. Again, that the defense in front of him is the most difficult thing that I find. The one big gray area. Yesterday, I can't tell you how many loose balls that I seen that was laying in front of that defense, and that the Wings weren't really paying detail on. They were more so just focused trying to play the man-to-man coverage zone instead of paying the details, like pick up the loose ball that's right in front of you. That's what caused Halifax to get a lot of their goals. The loose balls, the reflection, the rebounds, they were getting all that. And I was screaming at the TV like, why aren't you guys picking up this loose balls? Why aren't you picking up the loose balls that are right in front of you? So yeah, that's a thing of alarm. But again, credit to Higgins that he hung in there. The team played extremely well, and like I said, guys who need to step up stepped up in this game. So it's good. It's a good confidence booster heading in home next Sunday.
I talked to Paul Day yesterday, and he was talking about the character of the young players that's stepping up, and they took another injury yesterday, so they really have been snake bitten early in the season. And the only way to look at it half full instead of half empty is all this stuff happened early, and come down the stretch. If they can survive this, they'll be looking great because the law of averages says that they don't get this buggy near the end as well, because that will just finish you. But another glaring error. Another glaring error. It is 31 of 34 for Halifax on faceoffs. So even when you score, you don't get the benefit of getting that ball back and trying to make some more to continue along with runs. So you have to do everything the hard way.
But I think that's why this is a big game. This is a big game for the Wings, a big win. Considering that I think the loose balls were against this team. I think the loose balls were 90-63 in favor of Halifax. So pair that up with the face-off discrepancy, and for them to come out with the win, after all that is huge.
And exactly,
but they need to be careful. They need to be careful that they don't find themselves on the same side as Halifax against New York next week.
You're right.
New York is an absolutely desperate team right now.
Absolutely. And they did that a little bit in the game yesterday against Toronto.
Yeah,
we'll get into that.
I mean, if not for Colorado pulling what they pulled off, which we'll get to, I would have, they're the most desperate team in the league. I would have called it Colorado, but they pulled off a miracle.
Yeah, and listen, I think that with Halifax, I think they were just a little bit too physical. Like they found themselves a lot in the penalty box yesterday. Which kind of shot themselves in the foot, because that's where the Wings were again taken advantage of. And like I said, they kind of got things going. Again, I'm not taking anything away from this Halifax team. They are probably what I've seen so far is covering the Wings, the most physical team, tough team that I've seen. I mean, what I've seen, the one hit yesterday in the fourth quarter, Dawson Thieve just rocking Marcus Manchio, just coming across. I mean, he laid a hit on him and just welcomed him to the NL. I mean, it was, and then like right from there, I mean, through the course of the game, things got physical. Fisticuffs were getting thrown. I realize in Halifax, there's not, there can only be one bird. You put two strange birds in town with each other. Feathers get thrown away. So you can't have that. It gets real nasty. So, but like I said, what I take away though is, like I said, a good win for the Wings. This is kind of, your season was on the line from here. If you would have lost this one, you're looking at a 1-3 hole, and you cannot put yourself. They were destined to take this W. And again, a little overtime thriller. If you like a lot of lacrosse, you got that from this game. High scoring, physicality, was fighting. All that was summed up in one game. This was that. So a good win again. Jack Jackson. An unsung hero came through for the Wings and found the back of the net. And so again, what was there another gray area of this Halifax team? When I looked at tape, they were too worried about Mitch Jones. They were too worried about Joe Ortiz. They were looking like they went to put double coverages on a lot of guys, which left one guy open. And the one guy they've left open was taking advantage, taking the opportunity to score points for the Wings. So you had that going on.
I was going to say that's probably the one Achilles heel of Halifax, is that they do tend to take a lot of penalties. It's always been kind of their thing. So if you can take advantage of that, that's probably the one Achilles heel they got. But this is a championship caliber team in Halifax. So for the Wings to take them out is a huge confidence boost.
Right. Let's look at some of the highlights from the game, courtesy of the NLL.
Peterson twirling his stick a couple times as he rolls towards the top. He shoots, he scores! CP24 just 20 seconds into this one. It's 1-0. That will get the Thunderbirds a reset on the shot clock. So all worked out. Here's a pass out front. Shot, they score! Randy Stotts. You know, have a photo with Gary again. But right now, his team down 7-4. Here's Feed coming in. Churchy scores over the shoulder of Higgins. To find Jones. Jones couldn't quite handle it. They get it back, though. Here's a real good look. A pass down. They score. What a beauty right there by Jones. Bit of a broken play. They recovered. And it comes over to the far side. Stotts dishes it. Shot. They score. What a beauty. Ryan Benesh. My goodness. Loose ball, Philly will grab it on a breakaway. Here they come. Pace comes in, shoots, he scores! The Halifax native, Alex Pace, in front of over 100 friends and family. Cradling the ball, couple head fakes. Over the far side, Jameson out in front, Van Nash scores! What a beauty feed, Van Nash buries it.
Create some opportunities for his Thunderbirds team.
And trying to average closer to 10 a game for a guy like Peterson. Shot, and they score. There it is. Joe Resetarits, and you're mentioning he's getting close now, Patty. Over to Feed. Feed rolls, shoots, and a nice stop by Higgins down low. Rebound, they score. Back to his left now. Now he's going to set a little pick on Tyson Bell. Comes over to the near side. Shot, they score. A sidearm shot there by Mitch Jones and a big point. Dropped it, looking for Jameson. Eventually, Jameson shoots a low shot. Higgins, finish, looking for six. He's got it. The nest protector. Here's another chance, though. Coming in, a twister, they score. It's a tie ball game. 15 apiece. As Philly has tied it once again. Shot from way out. And getting a piece was Warren Hill. Here's Resetarits again. Nice pass. Shot, they score. It's over. It is over, Philly. A dramatic come from behind overtime victory here in Halifax.
And there is the game. One of the other things that we didn't discuss was Cody Jamieson quietly getting 6 assists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
And Benesh, a sock trick, too.
Yeah.
We'd be remiss not to mention that. We hear about some of the older guys in the league, like Matt Vince and Callum Crawford, and Ryan Benesh gets lost a lot of times in that. This is his final season. He's, I think, 8th all time in points, and he's one of only 7 or 8 guys with 500 or more goals in the league, and just keeps playing at an elite level.
I was watching a retro game the other day. It was Toronto versus Chicago from 2008, and a very young Ryan Benesh running along the floor with Rock. 2008, 15 years ago.
And it's crazy when I looked at this game too, like Ryan Benesh and somebody else. And you've seen in his highlights. Just the Wings defense needs to get better. I mean, they gave up 2 back-to-back breakaways. Ryan Benesh and I got to see who else got the other breakaway goal. I mean, but still, the defense for the Wings is definitely the biggest gray area, biggest problem they got going on. You would talk about getting lost in the sauce. I mean, they just the communication is bad. I mean, Paul Day needs to adjust, make some adjustments on that end. Again, they're just too worried about your assignments, and when they get lost on the assignments, they're not paying attention to the details. Like I said, I don't know how many times I've seen the loose balls just right in front of them, and they were not picking up on it. I mean, this is what kind of got things going for Halifax. So Halifax gets 2 back-to-back goals. I mean, easily. So and it's the defensive front of Higgins. It's just not connecting and not clicking right now. So if they need to fix something, that's going to have to be it.
Right.
I mean, again, that's, but you can also chalk that up to, there's a lot of new parts. You've got Domini just came over. McCannell just came over. Ganton and Armstrong are rookies. So, they obviously the loss of Baptiste too, puts a little more pressure on the defense because they're not getting as many offensive possessions. But, I don't know if you caught in the highlight package there. There was one clip where they showed Philadelphia's penalty kill. They're 5th in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So for this unit, that's I saw that and I caught that and I thought it was impressive. Considering their record, considering who they've played, to have the 5th best penalty kill unit in the league right now, that's definitely a plus. So
yeah,
I'm just saying, not everything's wrong with the defense. I mean, I understand, hey, the loose ball battle, that's pretty lopsided. That's definitely glaring. But they, again, like Gary said, they have time. They have time to work on it, clean it up, and I think they're gonna level out and be okay.
I mean, yeah. Look, for that's a plus. But this is some of the issues that were going on from last. And like I said, I get a lot of moving parts. Again, dealing with some injuries. You're going to do that. Again, the team's got to refine themselves as team chemistry and all that. And I get to it. But I feel like this has been going on since I've been covering it. And it's been the same kind of glaring problem. This is what them allowing all these points to happen. And again, it's just, and look, they're probably not the only team that this happens to. So, like you said, there's still some time to clean this up. But this is coming up against New York, who needs a win. For them, though, this is a get it right kind of situation. Get all your flaws fixed now, because again, it doesn't get any easier.
Yeah,
this is you're dealing with a team that needs the win, and this is a kind of, they're going to come up with their best punch. So the Wings are going to have to kind of counter that with what they got, game plan now.
Right.
Yeah. Again,
Right,
sounding like a broken record.
Sorry, Sean. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, sound like a broken record, but the unified standings, right? Every win counts at this point.
Everything, and you're only going to see a lot of these teams once, so that's your tiebreak. Before we move on, I just want to remind everybody this part of the show is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips.
All right, guys, if you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. Go to phillysportstrips.com. They have self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights from the Philadelphia airport. Packages include direct flights, 4-night stays, all-inclusive tailgate parties, lower-level group tickets. Whatever you want, you got it with phillysportstrips.com. If you want to travel to an upcoming Phillies game, make sure you check out Philly Sports Trips. And do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2023 season. Jump on it now, because you do not want to lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com.
Yeah, so guys, before I get out of here, I do got to say that somebody got some loving today on the PM and the AM show, and I put him in as a nominee for an award. And I got to get to my man, Mitch Jones. I gave to Mitch Jones for being the best Philadelphia athlete to best all-season pickup. I mean, the guy's got numbers, and now he's second in the league in points. I mean, this guy is just, again, being an MVP caliber player, you're dealing with a lot of adversity. It's just, listen, for what he's doing and for the win he pulled out against on Friday, hallelujah. That's all I gotta say. So, but listen, I will say though, guys, I want to say thank you so much. I love hanging with you guys next year. And by the way, next week, guys, for all you lacrosse heads, game of the week for me. Give me Albany, give me Halifax. Game of the week next week. I can't wait to see that one next Saturday. So, guys,
Halifax just became a desperate team. So it's let's see if Albany becomes a desperate team too. That is going to be a slobber knocker.
Yes, to use wrestling terms. Let's go. So,
all right, all the best, Pat. Happy New Year.
Same to you guys. And whoa, I gotta ask you guys. What's on the? I asked my other guys. What's the meal? What are you guys going to have today for your New Year's celebration?
I would be at the South Tel Center watching some.
Oh yeah.
He's got a plan for Sean.
Oh yeah. Sean's got a game to cover today.
I've got work to do still. Yep.
Shawn might be biting his nails for a nice lunch. So, oh
I
man,
have some Filipino food on the go over here, so it's great. Filipino wife,
And there you go. Yeah, look, brilliant man. You guys, listen, Mike. What do you got, buddy?
Just appetizers. I think pizza cups, mozzarella sticks.
Oh man, I'll tell you, you guys come through Philly. I'm telling you guys are gonna hang out with the gobbler at least one day. I'm gonna have you guys eating.
I'll be there in July for Fan Cup. Don't worry, Pat.
All right, July. Gary's coming through. Plan on getting him fat. All right, Gary, you're gonna go back. You're gonna go back home. The wife's gonna say, "Who's Shrek? Shrek's coming through the door." No, it's gonna be me.
Well, I've got the boy with me. Don't worry, he'll eat us at a house and home. So
really? Oh man! All right. Work a lot of overtime for Junior. Got it.
Double your cheesesteak order.
Yes,
If you put in 4, he might just have all of them. So.
All right, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Happy New Year's and
Happy New Year, Pat.
Happy New Year, Pat.
Go Higgins. Go Wings. All right.
All right, everybody. That was Pat Bernard with the Wings Nests. Always great to have Pat on the show. All right, guys. We got a couple more games to cover before we call it a day and a week and a year. San Diego, Rochester, Shawn. We have Rochester not undefeated anymore.
No.
First, Austin Dixon get hat tricks. Seals hand Nighthawks' first loss of the season.
Yeah, from the score there, 17-14, it was not a defensive battle whatsoever. What was it, 107 shots between the two teams.
Yes, Joe, I do. Yes, Joe, I do. So especially when they get healthy.
Yeah.
If they're doing this when they're not healthy, when they get healthy and they're running on all cylinders, they're going to be a force, just like we thought before the season. 2 main pieces of their offense is out, and they're starting to look at what they have, and they're finding some diamonds in the rough. So the finished product of the Philadelphia Wings will be nothing like the starting product of the Philadelphia Wings, but they are going to be a potent lineup.
Yeah, and I think the game upcoming against New York, that's a chance to win a season series. A 2-game, tiebreaker against the team, and I think they get Halifax again at home later in the year. So that's a chance to
even that one up. And, it's actually that's a chance to put a dagger.
To take a 2-zip.
Yeah, put a dagger in
another 2-game series. So
yeah. Alrighty, let's go into this San Diego Roch game.
Yeah, so really kind of a back and forth battle to start. 4-4 after the first. Again, 5-5 kind of early into the second, and then San Diego went on a 3-goal run with Curtis Dixon, Kyle Jackson, Wes Berg. Going up 8-5, and then that's kind of where the momentum swung a bit, because then it kind of went back to that back and forth game where Rochester couldn't get that momentum back to kind of get back into the game or tie it up, and it just kind of, I guess, snowballed from there. Again, big night from Westberg, 9 points, 3 goals, 6 assists. For Rochester, you had Ryan Smith with 7 points and 4 assists. Connor Fields also had a hat trick as well. I'm just going to pull up because Ryan Lashbury, I mean, we talked about how that trade just made such a difference. He even had 2 goals and 3 assists for 5 points. But I mean, look at the Seals side. Like we said, Westberg, 9 points. Trey Leclerc, 7 points. 8 points by Dane Dobie with 6 assists. So he was really more of a playmaker in this game. 8 points from Austin Stotts. It's hard for me to make out what to take from this game.
I think it'd be a lot worse if San Diego didn't take penalties.
Yeah, and
because
we talked about goaltending with San Diego. We talked about goaltending from San Diego again. Like Regulario made some really key mistakes, mishandling the ball, and
2 big gaffes. Yeah, the one where he did basically was an own goal, and then the one that he just let the Rochester player pick up, and I don't know what was going on that play.
I really feel if it wasn't for the San Diego offense, this could have very easily been an L.
Yeah.
Well, it's what we've been saying, right? The offense has been impressive, but I am not sold on this defense whatsoever. And once again, the defense and the goaltending have been in question. And it took 17 goals to put this to bed. So it does expose a few things on Rochester. Their defense isn't anywhere near what I thought it might be.
Yeah.
Hutchcraft looked average last night. He's been looking great in relief of in relief of Hartley. But he looked, granted, he had some really tough shots. But
that was kind of my feeling going into this game. Yeah. That was kind of my feeling going into this game too. Hutchcraft really hasn't faced that kind of firepower of a Dobie, a Dixon, a Berg, those guys. And yeah, we kind of exposed it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I agree, Ron.
Yeah,
exactly what we're saying.
Yeah,
the upgrade in net is Mike Poulin.
Yeah.
Well, you got Poulin and Watson to try and help him, right?
Yeah, and they are missing, and they are missing some. Not to make sort of the same excuse I'm making with Philly, but they're missing some key pieces too. Drew Belgrave is out. Eli Gobrecht is out. Matt Sykes is out right now for San Diego. So, there's this fair amount of physicality on the shelf right now.
Right.
On that back end for San Diego. So.
All right, why don't we take a look at the highlights? Courtesy of the NLL.
Players. Stotts working again, gets underneath and scores again. Austin Stotts, back-to-back possessions.
For Rochester, I was talking to forward Dan Lomas about that. He said that it's nice that the team is young because it's not naivety as we see Rochester come back and score a goal right there.
So Field with under 10 seconds. Defended by Logan. And scores from the perimeter. Connor Fields with the shot clock winding down. And he has a shot that simply has eyes.
Whether it's a loose ball, whether it's a turnover, their offensive unit creating additional opportunities.
Berg!
Watch out.
We got a penalty coming. We got fists flying. Back around. Chased by Gamble. Feeds for Smith. Now Lomas. Quick stick and a finish by Ryan Lanchberry. Dobie pirouetting. A dunk attempt and Leclerc.
Contrasts so well with the yellow on the helmets. Very well done from the design team.
If you're just joining us, the call on the floor was no goal. San Diego challenged it. Now,
after review, the shooter is clean prior to the goal, crossing the goal line. There we have a good goal on the floor.
Bounce comes right to McConvey, who is dispossessed in a big way by Patrick Shumek. Numbers for the Seals. Bradley and Dobie back to Bradley. He scores!
As he is double and triple teamed. I think he does that better than anybody.
Dixon with a lane. Leclerc! Air Leclerc! Flips it to Berg. Now to Stotson and ISO. Gets underneath, and he scores! You said it. The 4-on-4 benefits San Diego. They do such a good job in the two-man game, and Stotts gets underneath as well as anyone in the NLL.
More and more physical.
Now Berg, backside Govett, saved by Hutchcraft. Jackson! Oh my goodness! In the blink of an eye, Kyle Jackson.
The Rochester defense, if they want to watch, they need to buy a ticket. There's a lot of standing around in a lot of those goals. Just
can't disagree with that.
No, I can't disagree with that at all.
You guys like Austin Stotts just running circles around them and then diving across, and nobody moves. So I watched that in the Rock playoff game last year.
Yeah, I guess that would segue into a good point. I think I talked to you guys as the game was going on, mentioning how many righty forwards they seem to be having or playing that night. They had Ryan Smith, they had Ryan Lanchberry, they had Austin Hazen, Kyle Waters, and I think he was playing more transition than forward, but Penn Istrat was active too.
Yeah.
Plus they have Curtis Knight, who, I'm not sure if he was just injured or a short-term holdout for this game. You have that. You always have these situations with certain teams where they have a little bit of a plethora, of one commodity.
Right.
And it looks like for Rochester, righty forwards. So, they just traded, traded Stephen Keogh. They have more to deal. So, we may not be done looking at transactions from Rochester, dealing a righty forward that they can afford to lose.
And who could use that? Well, that would segment into the next game here. The New York Riptide could use a good solid righty somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really need a righty in there. They need anybody who can score other than that's not named Teat. Really.
Yeah.
Anyways, that brings us to our next game with Toronto.
Short side gets it back.
Sorry. Jumping ahead of everything. Wrong button. Here we go. Now, Nick Rose gets 40 saves. Dan Craig's 4 goals leads Rock to a 3-0 start. Really, this game was never in doubt. Maybe in the first 3 minutes. But other than that, the Rock never trailed. They just scored early and often. The transition game took over in the second. They scored 3 times. Jumped out to a 6-1 lead at the half. Pushed it to a 7-goal lead before the Riptide finally scored their first goal in over 30 minutes. Teams traded goals. New York got on a bit of a mini run in the third, but lopsided victory of 14-8. To get into the game itself, Rock opened the scoring with Dan Craig off a Tyler Hendricks feed, but Jeff Teat tied that game up a couple of minutes later. Josh Talwick, he had a big day. He gave the Rock the lead again with a low outside shot off a Mark Matthews pass. And again, they increased the lead further when Corey Small with a behind the net dive off a Josh Talwick feed. And at the end of one, it was 3-1. To enter the transition game, Dan Littner scored a pair of goals in transition. First one was he dove across the crease off a Mitch the Snoop pass at 3 minutes into the second quarter. And then about a minute and a half later, off a Brandon Slade pass, he fired a rope that beat Cam Dunkerley. Rock added insult to injury with a short-handed goal in transition. Justin Martin fired a laser off a Brad Creed pass, and that put the Toronto lead to 5. It was 6-1 at the half. Monster truck then played.
And that was the highlight of the game.
Pretty much, yeah. That's probably why there was 9,755 people at the game. There's a big crowd there for a Rock game, man. It was great. A lot of energy, a lot of noise. But Dan Craig opened the third quarter scoring with a shot to the short side, beating Cam off a Chris Boucher feed at 5:57, followed by DeSnoo scoring in transition, another transition goal. That's number 4 for the game, off a Chris Weir pass at the 7-minute mark. Riptide finally got on the board with Connor Kiernan scoring off a Kevin Brunel pass, but the Rock stormed right back with an outside shot from Corey Small off a Challen Rogers pass about a minute later. Stephen Keogh scored the most beautiful goal of the game between the legs. I believe it's in the clip that we have. And off a Connor Kiernan feed. But again, the Rock answered with Dan Craig scoring his third of the game off a Tyler Hendricks pass. Jeff Teat scored with a balanced shot from in close off a Connor Kiernan pass. And after 3, it was 10-4 Toronto. This game really was over. And Toronto was, kind of playing with their food. Which led to a little mini New York run. The Riptide scored in the 4th. On the power play, Larson Sundown converted a Connor Kiernan pass just 46 seconds in, followed by Riley O'Connor finishing off a Jeff Teat pass at 2:15. But Toronto got back on the board with Dan Craig scoring his 4th of the game off a Corey Small feed at 3:46. Teat fired a laser for the Riptide off a Larson Sundown pass at 5 minutes, which narrowed the Rock lead to 4. But Corey Small fired another absolute howitzer that beat Dunkerley. But he made the save and another one where the momentum just pushed it right on in. Dan Littner, Josh Talwick off a Dan Littner pass at the 9-minute mark. New York scored one more with a dive from behind the net from Larson Sundown, but the Rock answered with an empty net goal where TD Erlin won the face-off and ran ran in for the goal 10 seconds after that Sundown goal. Final score was 14-8 Toronto. Shots on goal were 51-48 in favor of Toronto. Again, another one where the dominant face-off thing, 23-4 for TD Erlin. Riptide went 1 for 2 on the power play, scoring one shorthanded goal. Toronto went 0 for 2 on the power play, but they also got a shorthanded goal. Big score for New York, Jeff Teat, 3 goals, 3 assists. The next one close would have been Larson Sundown with a pair. Connor Kiernan had a goal and 4 assists. Dan Craig led the Rock with 4 goals and 2 assists. Corey Small with 3 goals and an assist. And Josh Dawick with 2 goals and an assist. Toronto's firing on all cylinders, and they don't even have Corbeil. They don't have Tom Schreiber. They don't have any of the other pieces that they've been missing since preseason. So they're only going to get stronger. And you're going to start seeing a few other guys start making it in there too. You know, a night where Mark Matthews had nothing other than a few assists and other guys step up, but it's the transition game that's just been absolutely beyond belief. And Mitch Desnew pushing the ball up the floor all game long. It's literally every time he gets it, it's a sprint and away he went. If it's not him, it's Hostrauser. Both really great athletes, both really great fighters too. But you know, their skill levels is what sets them apart from any other bruiser in the league. Just before we go further, let's take a look at the highlight clip courtesy of the NLL.
Short side gets it back, buries! And you can feel the emotion. One for Madronic, who probably instinctively would like that one back. Up top, down, scores! Looking for some movement. Dowick saves out of the corner. Small turn, she scores! Corey Small! Cross, oh, very nice. Shoulder stop, rolls, oh, what a save! Nick Rose to Rob Batiste with a little windmill. And there's a clean steal. Just picking cherries from Mitch Desnew, who trots this one up, has a man on the move, and tied! What a dive, what a finish! As Madronic went back up top, O'Connor hits the deck hard. He's slow to get up. Right in front of that Riptide bench. Rock the other way. Slaght 2-on-1. Hands it over. Lindner again! Back to back for Dan Lindner, and he's arrived in Rock City. Sawyer's seeing what he could round into form, playing against, and there's a great move over the top from Craig, who strikes again. Slaght going on a run, finds Weir. Into the middle, Desnew scores! How about that? Trio of D providing some offense. Rogers. Swings back outside, Small scores! Corey Small! That kind of move from Matthews. And look at that goal! My goodness, Steve Keogh! What a beauty to start his Riptide career.
He's more than just a guy that could put the ball in it or set up plays.
Hendrick spins around, Craig shoots, scores! No doubter from Dan Craig.
Ron John has been playing here.
Craig wants his score, shoots, scores! Filthy! Team. Some time. Shoots, scores! Jeff Teat and Hendrick's trying to pave a way. Small step, shoots, scores!
And that's it in a nutshell. Really, Toronto was never in any doubt in this game. And they are just a powerful team. New York needs some righties, and they need some help for Teat anywhere along the way. Dunkerley, he played the whole game. I was kind of wondering if they were going to change him at one point, but no. Johnson was on the bench, so I guess they didn't want to do that. Interestingly enough. Alrighty, let's move on over. Toronto's now 3-0, eh, guys? Very quietly. We've been talking about all the other ones, but very quietly they're just going about business. That defense is solid and fast. So they have definitely made upgrades compared to last year. So this idea that they weren't good enough and they need to switch it up, they did. And wait till Corbeil comes back to add to the transition game. Shawn, you know it well.
Oh yeah,
what he can add to this.
Yeah, he'd be a
Let's
monster
not
back
forget
then.
Schreiber on the offense.
Right.
So a lot of different choices in the mix. A hell of a power play. Anyways, let's move on over. We're going to go over to the Colorado-Vancouver game. Another slobber knocker, shall we say.
What a wild one, hey?
Surprises.
What a wild game, eh?
How do you, I can still hear Molosky screaming.
Yeah.
For one, not scoring in the second half and the overtime.
But
anyways.
this is vintage Colorado, though, isn't it? Or they just chip away and chip away. I mean, let's just start off. I mean, Vancouver started with a 5 goals run just right off the bat. Bang, 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 bang. Ward, I don't think he's 100%. He did not look good there. And then in comes Tyler Carlson, and you think, oh boy, here we go. And he looked like a world beater.
That's up, man.
Yeah.
That's up. I'd have
He
lost
looked
that
like
bet
a
too.
world beater. What's that story, Gary?
I would have lost that bet too.
Yeah, no kidding. For a guy who made a career out of counting to 5, he just shut down Vancouver.
I remember his years in Brampton. Oh,
And then even in overtime, it was just so bizarre because Keegan Ball scores, but you don't hold the phone. You go to an instant replay, and his glove, as he was falling down, touched the crease. No
which,
goal.
by the way, was the second piece of equipment in that game of a goal to be.
Yeah, the
called
second
back.
time a glove has called back a goal in that game, which is weird. And
Yeah.
then, I guess it was just over about 4 minutes, I guess, into overtime. Connor Robinson's kind of coming off late off the bench, finds some room and space, just lets a howitzer go, and that's the ball game.
It's a tale of two games, really.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Vancouver took a flight, but they were silent, entirely silent the second half. It's unheard of. For a team that was rolling, literally doing anything that they wanted in the first half, to be absolutely shut down and shut up is beyond me. So,
Yeah, I think everyone's looking for answers to what exactly happened with the Warriors in that second half. And he said, I can't see Molosky settling for that at all.
like I say, I could probably hear him here in Toronto screaming. Because,
I mean, to my take, this is one of those games. It's like, they just came off that big win, over Georgia, and building confidence, and then this was almost one of those where you could have said, "Hey, we'll build on that." We let them back in, but we were still able to prevail in overtime. We showed some resolve. Got it back together.
Yeah.
But this now, it's back to, hey, we completely collapsed, similar to some of the games they had last year. They had a huge collapse.
One
against
game that
Colorado
reminds
last
me of exactly
year.
last year.
Yeah. They had a huge collapse against Las Vegas last year, where I think they were up about 9 goals. So, not sure what to take from it yet. I don't think, I don't think they're down and out. I don't think anyone's down and out right now. I would have said that about Colorado had they lost.
They're a desperate team. I guess they finally hit rock bottom at the end of that first half and had to really dig deep and find. I'm curious what was said at halftime.
Yeah.
And what got them on track, because something had to have been said.
Spark something.
That they had to find a pride somewhere, because this was too important. They couldn't lose this game. And sure enough, they came out just guns a-blazing on both sides of the ball. And Tyler Carlson, like you say, he looked like he should have been on the All-Star ballots. So,
well, that's the thing now. Like, what do you do with the goaltending situation in Colorado? Because I don't think Ward is 100%. I think he's still injured because he does not look good at all. And do you stick with Carlson or do you
might have
look
to.
else? Yeah.
I don't know. Consider who they have next week. Buffalo. In Buffalo.
And Buffalo lost this week. Remember that. So they are hungry and pissed off.
But if you don't have 100% Ward, who can't make the saves that he needs to make, because
I got a feeling you're going to start with him, and if he doesn't perform well, you're going to have to replace him. But I can't see them sitting him and starting Carlson against Buffalo. Too many questions will be coming out too quickly. That's where jobs get lost.
Yeah.
That.
That's where it's tough.
Surely for optics, that's where your job.
That's where it's tough, right? Because if you put in Ward and you get down again 5-0 against a team like Buffalo, you ain't coming back.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah,
it becomes 15-4, and it becomes very embarrassing.
So you're taking that risk, right? For pure optics.
Again, you still have a job the next week, though.
Yeah,
and you put Carlson in, and you're down 5-0, and people go,
"Why'd you play Ward?" Yeah.
Exactly. Why isn't he playing? Anyways, let's look at some of the highlights of this absolutely befuddling game.
No, there isn't really. You talk about Kurt, you talk about Pat Coyle, talk about... There's a nice opportunity for Colorado, for Vancouver, and it's in. First goal of the evening. Frustrated that in that game as Vancouver controls the ball offensively again. There's another shot and another goal. We may be getting a goalie change pretty quick here. That's Kevin Crowley with his second of the night already.
Early on here, we've seen this team in this building in previous years really turn it on. That's not going to help right there, though, Andy.
That is the hat trick for Kevin Crowley right there.
I think back in our day, something else would be done, to get some momentum going.
Well, there it is.
And
Zed Williams.
Get
into the bucket, but be careful.
Got a delayed penalty. Oh, it's not even going to matter. Kevin Crowley again.
Kevin Crowley is on fire.
You got to get yourself in the way, any legitimate defensive coach.
There's a shot to score for Gibson.
The loose ball guys like a Robert Hope or a Reed Bowering. It's those plays that coaches love to see.
Coaches also love to see on the Vancouver side. Charlotte Beatties. So far, they're just working it around. Charlotte Beatties thinks about it. Then he fires one and gets it home. I don't know where he found the room for that. He reached a career milestone. Connor Robinson, though. He fires and gets it past Bold. Another hopper.
The arena, the fans are going here a little bit. The bench is going here a little bit. 5 under.
And there's another goal. Eli McLaughlin.
He wanted to keep this momentum going. They're still going right beside me. So there's another one. Robinson.
Connor Robinson with the hat trick, and he just continues to hop it by Aaron Bull.
He's a calming guy in the room. He's been there before. He's won at all levels. Very, very excited to see him.
And very excited to see Tim Edwards put it home. The transition team stayed out there. Joey Capito fed Edwards, and we got a 1-goal game.
Very well for the Vancouver Warriors, and the adjustments that the Mammoth have made. They're not allowing those passes to the inside off the picks.
There's a shot from McLaughlin, and we got a tie game. Eli McLaughlin ties it up. Ball back, and now it's a breakaway. Carlson saves it. Winless on the year. Vancouver with the single tally. Crowley goes to work. Now hands it off to Ball. Ball has a lane, and he's going to win it for the Vancouver Warriors.
After review, the shooter contacts the crease prior to the ball fully going from the goal line.
Wow, he thought about it.
Coming late.
Coming late is Connor Robinson, and he wins it. Another big hopper for Connor Robinson. And Colorado has got their first win.
Had anybody thought of replacing Bold while this was happening in the third especially? It's a little befuddling for me too,
Yeah.
You see the momentum changing. You see the crowd getting into it. You see everything not going your way. And even if it was for 5 minutes, just to stem the tide.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions.
Repeatable than me at the helm, but that just seems like an obvious. Just give it a switch for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Let Bold get himself together, and let him get the voices out of his head, and come on back.
I mean, one positive they can take away with Vancouver is Kevin Crowley had 5 goals. So that was a guy you really need to step up coming into this season. 7 points for Charlotte Beatties. A couple of guys that really needed to take that next step. But yeah, when you're scoring all your points in the first half.
I just can't figure it out that they can go without doing anything wrong in the first half to not being able to do anything right in the second half.
I hate coming back to this, but I mean, they had chances and Carlson shut the door. You saw that breakaway.
Yeah, breakaway was another thing.
They had their chances.
Tyler Carlson was a different. I'm sorry, but I can't get that out of my mouth.
It's to go off the tongue, right?
No, we lost Rocco Granato around this time a couple of years ago, and he used to always make jokes about the Tyler Carlson the bench club, being able to count to 5. That was his constant thing. Carlson, that was his job. So to get it out that Carlson was a big reason why Vancouver didn't win this game. There you go, Rocco.
I was looking down, yeah.
Strange things happen even now, Rocco. Yeah, no, it's been 3 years. It's hard to believe, man. I put a little thing up there about him. It was shocking back in 2020 when I got the news. The game is still missing him, and his insights, and Philadelphia Lacrosse is missing him as well. So wish Jackie and the family all well at this time. And, we still have you in our thoughts, Rocco. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the last game of the weekend until tonight, of course. The last game yesterday, and that was the Calgary-Vegas game, Mike. And, of course, Kings 9-point night powers Roughnecks to a big win in their home opener. They needed this win, didn't they?
Yeah. Another. It's hard to believe we're talking about so much desperation in week 5 of a 21-week season, but here we are. And
here we are with this schedule, right?
I mean, Calgary, winless, 2 games on the road, and both winnable games where they squandered leads late. But they come up big. Jesse King, three goals, 6 assists. You had Hayden Dixon had 4 goals and an assist. Tyler Pace had a goal and 5 assists. And you had Thomas Hogarth getting a couple of goals. Courier chipping in with 2 goals and 2 assists. That's Josh Courier, sorry. And Del Bianco kind of getting back a little bit into form, 36 saves. He also had an assist, I believe. Vegas did bring their offense, though, this time.
Vegas finally gets some offense, and is not nearly enough because they give up 17.
Right.
They didn't bring
Joel Watson played almost 20 minutes in relief of Landon Kells. I think he made 10 saves on 13 shots. So, but another bright spot, I guess, for Vegas, 17 out of 32 on faceoffs. So,
right.
The usual suspects for the Desert Dogs leading the way with Casey Jackson, 3 goals and an assist. Rob Hellier, 2 and 3. Jack Hanna, 2 and 3. But kind of a quiet night for some of the younger guys. So that, they definitely need to see more out of Dylan Watson and Sean Wesley. So.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's
all right. Why don't we take a look at it? Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
I was going to say that's kind of the point I was kind of going to get at. Las Vegas found some offense.
Some. Better than
11,
it's been, but it's
better than it's been, but I don't think 11's going to win you much.
Not without a defense.
Yeah.
If you're not going to bring a defense, you're going to need 21. 11 wins you a game when you have a Buffalo defense or a Georgia defense, Toronto defense. But it doesn't work when you have a defense that is still trying to figure it out and trying to get to it. And that's where Vegas is right now. Do we think that Vegas has actually stepped backwards from last year?
Yeah, I'm not ready to answer that yet.
Yeah,
give a few more. I think it needs a few more weeks.
Okay. I'm just looking at the numbers, and defensively, they're nowhere near what they were doing last year. Goaltending wise, where we expected Kells to make a big leap, he hasn't. And offensively, while you have a couple of guys who have exceeded what they had done, you have a lot of guys who haven't done anything yet. So
that's the thing. I think it's not so much taking a step back, because there's guys that just aren't performing to their potential right now.
Right. All right, let's take a look at the highlights and see exactly where this game went.
Corner. Penalty coming up to Vegas. Calgary works the 6-on-5 with Del Bianco to the bench. Shot scores! Hayden Dixon, as he was falling, got the shot off. And they work it to Thomas Bison in the lineup here. Hellier with it again. Gets a little bit of room. Nice pass. There's the shot. Scores! Oh, Hellier sets up Jack Hanna with a king to the middle, but Courier was next. Now penalty coming up. And scores! Tanner Cook dials it up from long distance.
As Salama found himself with an opportunity, unable to cash in, and it remains a 4-2 game, but not for long, as Vegas
tried to Cook. Cook now plays it up high to Pace. 5 to shoot. Pace not sure what to do, so he takes a shot and scores! Tyler Pace. Pass does eventually make its way to Del Bianco, as that was Charlie Bertrand who struggled to control it. Now opportunity for Simpson. Scores! Shane Simpson in transition. There was still time here, but they're going to have to draw something up here quickly. Pace with it, edges his way in. Nice pass to Hogarth, and he shoots and scores. Thomas Hogarth. Courier tried to find a streaking man through the crease. Instead it comes to Jesse King. King now to the net. He shoots and scores. The captain, a versatile role, playing some defense, and that's limiting some of his production. Now Jesse King now with it. King winds to the net, takes the shot, and scores. Hat-trick goal for Jesse King. Took a while, but finally get the full change of personnel on the floor and have the offense they want. Includes Josh Courier, who takes the pass, takes the shot, and scores! Josh Courier from way outside. As Bison was trying his luck from well outside, but couldn't get it through. Now Calgary has it in transition. Here's an opportunity. Shoots and scores! Seth Van Scheppen.
Taking a beating, trying to head towards the center of the court.
Now Dan Taylor. And another goal. This time it's Hayden Dixon, as they're coming in bunches right now for the Roughnecks. And they double up the Desert Dogs in this final quarter with the Roughnecks up by 4. Now an opportunity and a goal. And right on top of the crease, it's Hayden Dixon with his hat-trick goal. Now it's to Jesse King. King gets a pick from Dan Taylor. Pick and roll. Shot scores. Beautiful two-man game with Dan Taylor and Jesse King. 4:20 to be precise. And now here's Hayden Dixon. Dixon to the net, and he scores. Hayden Dixon crashes the crease, and Watson is now sitting on him. Quickly here, though, with 3.5 to go. This one's pretty much all done, although they do get the quick goal as Casey Jackson gets a hat trick.
And there it is. And Calgary comes up with their win. Well, it's been a busy week so far with one more game still to go, which Shawn is going to be going to soon.
Yeah.
Over at South. Everybody picked Albany but me, eh?
Hey, to be fair,
I'm kind of wishing I'd picked Sask now, but
and to be fair, I went back and forth on that pick. I mean, I think these
my theory behind it was Albany's
well.
3 wins. 2 of them are against unproven teams. You know, one was solid against Buffalo, but even them, they're everybody's got a losing record that they've beaten.
But to be fair, Saskatchewan's losing record right now too. So
it has to change sooner or later, right?
Yeah, I think this is a Rush team that doesn't get enough credit for what they're doing right now, and I think that win against Las Vegas last week is a huge confidence boost for a young team. And like I said, I went back and forth. Just the thing with the Rush is they've had those kind of mental lapses in each of their games, even that big game against Las Vegas, they had a couple of mental lapses. And if you're in a close game, which this one is more than likely going to be, you can't have those lapses, or Albany will make you pay.
Now we got a bit of a lesser week next week. There's only 4 games on tap. Saturday they got Halifax against Albany. That's the game of the week. Panther City goes into Georgia, and Colorado plays Buffalo, which is going to be a slobber knocker also. And then on the Sunday, New York plays Philadelphia. So another one that's a must win for New York if they have any hope before the big trade deadlines start moving, slewing people out of there, because it's going to happen sooner or later at this rate for the annual New York Riptide remake.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? When are they going to if or when are they going to move Teat?
Now, Evan Schemenauer came out with his random thoughts, and he brought up something that I really wasn't thinking about. And what about moving Jeff Teat, and who could afford him? And does it become like a Lindros thing, where you basically make your team with all the draft picks and anything else that can come back for it or for him? It's an interesting thought. And, again, Buffalo, Toronto, they're the ones that seem to be the rich ones that can afford him. Both of which is around, let's see, his dad is the scout for Buffalo, and he lives in Brampton, so it's pretty close to Toronto. Yeah. So they would work. But just the idea, if the Riptide are that desperate to move.
I'll do another thing, though. Are the Riptide that desperate? Teat's going to want to win, right? He's the best player on the planet right now. He's going to get frustrated at some point and want out. Let's call a spade here, right?
Yeah, okay. Sure. Well, just
I don't even know about Philly. I think the asking price is I think the asking price is going to be too high.
It's going to be a huge.
It's going to be astronomical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be too high for even like Buffalo and Toronto. They're just going to say, hey, look, it's just not worth what we're giving away. And that's not to downplay Jeff Teat's abilities. I think it's just,
especially if you look up and down Toronto and Buffalo's lineup too, where do you put a Teat?
Well, exactly. Because both teams are stacked.
They're already stacked. Yeah,
they don't need them.
Yeah, and I think I was coming more from a standpoint of, I don't know if there's any confirmed report of what Vegas offered Albany to be able to get the number 1 pick to try to get Dyson Williams, but whatever that asking price was enough to turn Vegas away for someone who hasn't even stepped foot on the floor,
right,
in the NLL. Yeah. Take that and extrapolate to arguably the best player in the league, and the price is just going to be too much.
But what would they be willing to give up, Eduardo? It's all fine.
I see the Seals the same
Vegas
situation.
has nothing to give up for it.
It's a lot.
And
I see the same situation with the Seals too. You have Berg, Dixon, Doby. Where do you fit into Teat?
Halifax also, they're overstacked with mind you, the one turning point there is Clark Peterson, and him and Teat played together through junior. They played together through Cornell. They played together everywhere, with the exception of now in the NLL. So, just a thought. Even they played together on Atlas for a short bit.
Yeah. But there's no way Halifax gives up.
No, those kind of draft picks, and you're looking at first round draft picks for 3 years. And players.
Yeah.
Nah, you'd be crazy. You'd be crazy to do it. But then again, if New York doesn't start winning, eventually Jeff Teat's going to come up for a free agency. Then what?
But he's young enough too. He's just a restricted free agent. So that's
Uh-huh.
where things get a bit interesting, right? He's not exactly free to go anywhere.
No, and the price will be steep also.
Yeah. I mean, just off the top of my head, if you're New York and Halifax is inquiring, I mean, you're probably starting at Graham Kostiuk, one of either Dawson Theed or Eric Fennell, because you want a lefty forward back. And then you're probably talking at least 2 first-rounders, or a first-rounder and 2 second-rounders. And those probably need to be within the next 2 years. I won't even say 3.
And that's bare minimum.
Yeah. Bare minimum.
Absolutely.
So I think the moment Graham Kostiuk's name comes out of, Rich Lisk's mouth to, Kurt Steyer's, that's a non-starter.
The conversation's over.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought I'd be put that on the tip of everybody's tongue for something to think about this week. If you have any ideas at home, by all means, message us and put it across there, because we're curious. We're curious to see what people would think. Before we move to our last little segment, I want to remind everybody this part of the show is brought to you by David R. Cherry and Associates.
All right, guys, let's talk about Cherry Law Firm. If you get hurt at work in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you got to call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your rights. Again, that number is 610-565-0300. That's 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right.
Hey, this just in, the dog asked for Max Wilson in that trade too.
Sue me.
That's fantastic. Just a reminder to everybody that we are found on Facebook, we are found on Twitter, we are found on Instagram, we are found on Thread, and we are found on YouTube. And again, like I stated at the beginning of the show, we are using YouTube more and more to try and get more things out to you, whether it be interviews, whether it be retro games, whether it be other tidbits, fights, or any other things. So we'd like to use it more as a tool. So please head over there, subscribe, let your friends know, let them subscribe. And let's build that up to be another tool that we can use to get as much information out to you as we possibly can. I want to thank everybody for a fantastic 2023. We have made leaps and strides and bounds. We have traveled all over the globe to get the stories for you, and we're going to do the same in 2024, if not more so. So we really appreciate your patronage being here week in, week out with us. Remember to come back to our Facebook page 3, 4, 5 times a day, because the news is always changing. And we are up to the minute with our thumb on the pulse of the situation to get everything to you. Also, please check out eopsports.com/lacrosse for a library of any of our recaps or articles or any of the other sorts of things that you're going to find there. Plus, you can catch our entire library of shows on our YouTube page also. Any last words for the year, Shawn?
Just looking forward to ringing in the new year tonight. Last I saw, the lower bowl at least was sold right out, so it's going to be rocking at Sass Center tonight.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Mike, any last words for the new year?
Just looking forward to tonight's game. Happy New Year to you guys, and looking forward to next week and some big games with some desperate teams.
Absolutely. And remember, we're back to our 9 o'clock slot next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. I want to thank everybody again for a great year. I want to thank you guys for a terrific year. And the sky's the limit for where we're going to be in 2024. Look for a lot of big things, and look for a lot of new little segments and things to come about. We're in dealings with a number of different organizations as well. So things are looking fantastic for 2024. I want to wish everybody a happy new year and the best of 2024, healthy and happy. And until then, remember to keep your stick in your hands, and we'll see you again next week at the beginning of 2024. Till then.